The foundation of prosperity begins not in the external world, but in the internal realm of identity. What you repeatedly declare about yourself and believe at your core will ultimately shape your external experiences. The statement, "I am money," is not a literal claim to physical currency, but rather a powerful affirmation of internal identity aligned with abundance. When someone consistently affirms such an identity, they begin to shape their subconscious mind to accept wealth as a natural extension of who they are. The subconscious does not differentiate between real and imagined, it simply accepts repeated instructions. So when you speak abundance into your identity, it begins to shift the internal blueprint that controls how you experience money in the material world. Most people operate from a mindset of lack because their internal narrative tells them they are separate from abundance. They say, "I don't have enough," or "money is hard to get," and then wonder why they continually struggle. What this speech teaches is that your words are seeds, and your inner identity is the soil. When you plant the seed of abundance in the soil of your identity, your external reality begins to reflect that abundance. "I am money" means I am connected to the flow of prosperity, I am worthy of wealth, I attract financial blessing naturally because it's who I am. The law of assumption, made popular by many spiritual teachers, states that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. This is a critical teaching point. Wanting wealth is not enough. You must become aligned with it in thought, emotion, and belief. When you speak, "I am money," you are not worshiping money or idolizing materialism. You are declaring unity with divine provision. You are affirming that wealth is your natural state, because you were created in the image of a God who lacks nothing. This shift in identity removes fear and striving. Most people live in a state of survival because they view money as external and difficult to obtain. They believe that they must work excessively hard, compete, and sacrifice their peace to get ahead. But when you embody abundance, your energy becomes magnetic. People, opportunities, and resources are drawn to that confident, peaceful posture. It is the same principle that causes some individuals to effortlessly attract wealth. Because they are not chasing it, they are radiating it. Think of it like a thermostat. If your internal belief is set to scarcity, no matter how much money comes into your life, your subconscious will find ways to bring you back to lack. You might overspend, sabotage opportunities, or simply not recognize the value of ideas that could have prospered you. But if your inner thermostat is set to abundance, you naturally maintain wealth because it's part of your core identity. Even if challenges come, you bounce back quickly because your identity is rooted in prosperity consciousness. Identity also affects how you respond to financial situations. When someone with a lack mindset sees a bill or an unexpected expense, they panic. They immediately affirm more lack by saying, "I can't afford this," or "Why does this always happen to me?" But someone who affirms, "I am money," sees the same situation and responds with, "This is already paid," or "Abundance flows to me constantly." This difference in reaction comes from the internal programming, not the external circumstance. And over time, this mindset literally changes outcomes. The person aligned with prosperity begins to see miracles, unexpected income, and divine ideas that increase wealth, while the person rooted in scarcity continues to struggle. Affirmations like, "I am money," "I attract wealth," or "I am a magnet for prosperity," are not about fantasy. They are about reconditioning your mind to accept a new standard. Just as athletes use visualization to see themselves winning before a race, individuals must see themselves wealthy on the inside before they ever manifest it on the outside. The power of the spoken word plays a crucial role here. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. When you continually speak words of abundance, your neural pathways begin to rewire. Your reticular activating system, RASA, in the brain starts to filter your environment to notice opportunities, connections, and open doors that align with your internal declaration. Furthermore, emotions must support your affirmations. You cannot say, "I am money," and feel fear or doubt in your heart. The emotional vibration you carry when speaking these truths is what causes them to imprint on the subconscious mind. So when you speak abundance, it must be with joy, expectation, gratitude, and confidence. These are the emotional frequencies that match the vibration of wealth. Gratitude, in particular, is a powerful activator. Being thankful in advance for financial increase puts you in a state of receiving and confirms your belief that it is already done. Another point to consider is self-worth. Many people subconsciously block wealth because they don't believe they deserve it. Saying, "I am money," also challenges this belief by affirming your worthiness to receive. When you truly believe that you are valuable and that prosperity is your birthright, you stop rejecting blessings and start welcoming them. This opens up a channel for divine supply to flow freely into your life. Finally, understanding that identity comes before manifestation teaches us to stop trying to fix the outside and start transforming the inside. Rather than hustling harder, getting another job, or trying to manipulate situations, the true work lies in changing how you see yourself. When your inner narrative becomes, "I am money, I am favored, I am blessed," your outer world cannot help but reflect that truth. As within, so without. Money is not just a material concept, it is also deeply spiritual. The flow of finances into a person's life is governed by invisible spiritual laws that operate with precision, just like natural laws such as gravity. Whether one believes in them or not, they are always at work. Understanding and cooperating with these divine principles is key to unlocking lasting abundance. One such law is the law of attraction, which states that what you think about, feel deeply, and believe to be true, you draw into your life. When you focus on lack, poverty, and fear, those frequencies attract situations that validate those feelings. But when you shift to thoughts of abundance, gratitude, and expectation, you begin to attract financial opportunities and provision. The speech highlights that money responds to energy, not just effort. This contradicts the traditional mindset that says you must work harder, longer, and faster to get rich. While hard work has value, spiritual laws say alignment comes before effort. If your inner world is aligned with prosperity, then the outer world begins to organize itself to match that vibration. This is why two people can work the same job, in the same conditions, but one thrives while the other struggles. The difference lies not in their labor, but in their mindset and spiritual alignment. Another spiritual law at play is the law of expectancy. Whatever you expect, you create. If you expect things to go wrong, if you expect bills to pile up, or if you expect to struggle because that's how it's always been, then your subconscious will go to work producing that outcome. But if you wake up expecting financial miracles, if you expect to prosper in every season, if you expect to be supported by God's divine supply, then your energy becomes a magnet for those things. Expectancy is faith in action. It's the confident anticipation that what you desire is already moving toward you. The law of cause and effect is also a major player in the realm of finances. Every thought you think and every word you speak is a seed. That seed has a consequence. When you declare, "I'm always broke," or "money never stays with me," you are sowing seeds of lack. The effect of those seeds is more situations that reinforce financial struggle. But if you declare, "Money flows to me with ease," or "I am a faithful steward of unlimited wealth," then the universe begins to respond with corresponding opportunities and ideas. Spiritual laws demand responsibility for the energy you send out. They don't respond to need, they respond to faith, words, and intentional alignment. The law of giving and receiving is another essential component. Many people want to receive more but are blocked in their giving. This doesn't only refer to money. It can mean time, attention, support, encouragement, or service. When you give from a heart of generosity, you signal to the universe that you trust there is more where that came from. This opens the flow. Giving breaks scarcity and releases circulation. Hoarding, on the other hand, stems from fear and sends the signal that resources are limited. The spiritual principle here is that when you give freely, you make room to receive abundantly. The law of belief also governs prosperity. You cannot rise above what you believe. If you believe money is evil, or that rich people are greedy, or that you must choose between being spiritual and being wealthy, you will unconsciously sabotage financial success. Your beliefs form the ceiling of your results. In order to attract more, you must believe you are worthy of more. You must believe that God is not only able but willing to bless you in all areas, including your finances. Renewing your mind through spiritual truths such as, "God gives me the power to get wealth," or "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," begins to shift your internal structure to match divine abundance. Another principle often overlooked is the law of identity. You don't manifest what you desire. You manifest who you are. This means you must become the kind of person who naturally attracts and sustains wealth. This includes integrity, discipline, confidence, and gratitude. Money is not just attracted to need. It's attracted to order, responsibility, and purpose. Many people desire money but are not prepared to manage or multiply it. Spiritual alignment means preparing your character and habits to handle the increase that is on the way. In spiritual economics, the law of visualization is also critical. You must see yourself wealthy, living in overflow, walking in generosity and peace. When you visualize abundance clearly and regularly, you are training your subconscious to accept this as your reality. The mind does not distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. So if you consistently visualize yourself living debt-free, traveling, giving, owning, and enjoying life, your mind begins to take it as truth. This builds confidence, opens creative pathways, and increases your financial magnetism. Additionally, the speech teaches that spiritual alignment attracts divine guidance. When you are attuned to God's Spirit, you begin to receive inspired ideas, creative strategies, and inner nudges that lead to increase. God may give you a business idea, direct you to a new opportunity, or inspire a connection that brings breakthrough. Spiritual wealth is not about luck. It's about being connected to the source of all provision. When you put God first, seek His wisdom, and stay aligned with His principles, the flow of money becomes consistent, peaceful, and purpose-driven. Finally, the law of faith and words governs the atmosphere around your finances. You cannot speak failure and expect success. You cannot curse your job, criticize wealthy people, or complain about bills, and then expect money to honor you. Words are containers of power. When you declare abundance, speak prosperity, and thank God in advance, you are using spiritual law to command the flow of money. Your mouth becomes the steering wheel of your financial future. Just as God created the world with words, you co-create your financial world with your declarations. Alignment is the key to unlocking divine abundance. It is not enough to merely desire wealth or pray for financial increase. Your words, emotions, and faith must be in harmony with the truth of prosperity for it to manifest consistently in your life. Alignment means bringing every part of your inner world, what you say, what you feel, and what you believe, into agreement with the spiritual truth that you are already supplied by divine source. When there is unity between these elements, the energy you emit becomes powerful and focused, acting like a signal that draws financial opportunities, creative ideas, and supernatural provision into your life. Your words are the first level of alignment. The tongue is a creative instrument. Scripture says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue," which means that your words carry spiritual weight. Every time you say, "I can't afford it," "Money never stays with me," or "I always struggle financially," you reinforce a vibrational signal that blocks abundance. On the other hand, declarations like, "I am aligned with overflow," "Wealth flows to me from every direction," or "I have more than enough," activate the law of agreement. Your words should mirror the reality you want to see, not the one you fear or currently experience. The more you speak abundance, the more your subconscious mind accepts it, and the more the universe organizes around that declaration. But words alone are not enough. Your emotions must agree with your speech. If you say, "I am wealthy," but your heart is filled with fear, doubt, or resentment, then the emotional signal you're sending contradicts your words. Emotions are the energetic fuel behind your affirmations. Feeling joy, gratitude, peace, and expectation while declaring abundance increases the frequency of your manifestation. Gratitude, in particular, is one of the most powerful emotional states for prosperity. When you give thanks in advance for financial blessings not yet visible, you signal deep faith. You declare, without words, that you trust in divine timing and provision. This emotional trust opens doors that effort alone cannot. Many people affirm abundance intellectually but carry emotional wounds related to money. They may feel shame from past failures, fear of success, or guilt for wanting more. These emotions create energetic resistance. Until those emotional blocks are cleared, the flow remains restricted. This is why healing is essential to abundance. You must forgive yourself for past mistakes, Release any bitterness, and allow your heart to feel safe receiving. Emotions are magnetic. What you feel on a regular basis determines what you attract. If you habitually feel scarcity, worry, or pressure, you will draw more situations that match those emotions. But when you cultivate emotional abundance, feeling rich, free, and secure even before the money shows up, you change your vibration completely. Then there's faith, which is the spiritual alignment of belief. Faith is not hope. It is not wishing or dreaming. Faith is knowing. It is the confident assurance that what you seek is already done. When your faith is strong, you operate from a posture of rest, not anxiety. You no longer beg God for increase. You thank Him because you know it is already yours. Faith sees the invisible and calls it into the visible. It is the substance that draws spiritual truth into material form. Aligning your faith with divine abundance means trusting that the universe is friendly, that God is your source, and that wealth is not withheld from you. It means refusing to let temporary circumstances dictate your level of belief. When your words, emotions, and faith are saying the same thing, when you speak abundance, feel abundance, and believe in abundance, you enter a powerful state of flow. This flow is not about striving or chasing. It is a state of ease, clarity, and spiritual momentum. Ideas begin to come effortlessly. Resources show up when needed. You start to receive divine nudges. Go here, call this person, apply there. That lead to provision. This is not magic. It's divine law responding to your inner alignment. When all parts of your being are in agreement with wealth, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. This alignment also sharpens your discernment. When you are in harmony with divine abundance, you can quickly detect whether an opportunity aligns with your values, energy, and calling. You stop chasing money out of desperation and start attracting it with purpose. You begin to say no to things that don't serve your vision, and yes to things that carry divine increase. Money becomes a tool for purpose rather than a source of stress. This kind of clarity only comes when your inner world is at peace with wealth. Aligning your words, emotions, and faith also reconditions your energetic field. You carry a spiritual atmosphere everywhere you go. When you are aligned, your presence communicates abundance even before you speak. People sense your confidence. Opportunities flow more easily because you are operating from your true identity. Not fear, not lack, not hustle, but divine supply. People are drawn to that energy. This is why aligned individuals often find favor, receive discounts, are given promotions, or attract business without aggressive effort. The universe responds to alignment with precision. It's important to practice this alignment daily. Speak affirmations aloud in the morning. Visualize your ideal financial life and allow yourself to feel it as if it's real. Affirm truths like, I am a vessel of divine wealth, everything I touch prospers, and my needs are met abundantly. Monitor your emotional state throughout the day. If you feel worry, don't suppress it. Acknowledge it, then shift it by declaring truth and returning to gratitude. Let your faith rise by reading scripture, meditating on abundance, and reminding yourself of times God came through before. Build a strong belief system that wealth is part of your divine inheritance. Spiritual alignment doesn't mean money falls from the sky instantly, but it does mean that your life becomes open to the flow of divine provision. The more consistently you align your inner world, the faster the outer changes. Prosperity is not something you pursue. It's something you allow when your spirit is in agreement with it. When a person operates from the belief that money is outside of them and hard to get, they fall into the pattern of chasing. This chase is filled with anxiety, desperation, and striving. It leads to burnout, frustration, and scarcity because the energy behind chasing communicates lack. Chasing says, I don't have it yet, and I'm trying to get it. That frequency repels abundance because it is rooted in fear and unworthiness. On the other hand, attraction is rooted in the belief that wealth is already available and flowing towards you. When you stop chasing and start attracting, you shift into a higher vibrational state that naturally pulls prosperity in your direction without force. Your energy is the first signal you emit to the world, and it speaks louder than your words or intentions. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, and every belief you hold contributes to your energetic frequency. If your energy is filled with fear, lack, and stress about money, that is the signal you send out. And because like attracts like, you'll find yourself in situations that match that signal. More bills, unexpected expenses, or missed opportunities. But when your energy radiates peace, confidence, gratitude, and expectancy, you become a magnet for abundance. People are drawn to that energy. Ideas come more easily. Solutions appear. Divine timing begins to unfold, and provision starts flowing in unexpected ways. This energetic shift doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from changing your mindset. Your mindset is the framework through which you interpret everything about life and money. If you grew up hearing phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are greedy, or you have to work yourself to the bone to survive, then your mind has been conditioned to view money as scarce and difficult. These mental programs run in the background and sabotage your financial outcomes unless you consciously replace them with empowering beliefs. Affirmations like, money comes to me effortlessly, abundance is my birthright, and I am open to receive, begin to shift those deep-rooted beliefs. Reprogramming the mind takes repetition and consistency. The subconscious mind governs 95% of your daily behavior, and it accepts whatever it hears repeatedly, especially when accompanied by emotion. So when you speak abundance daily, visualize prosperity, and emotionally engage with those thoughts, you begin rewiring your subconscious for wealth. A mindset of abundance does not mean you ignore current financial challenges. It means you see beyond them. You no longer allow temporary lack to define your identity or limit your expectations. Your focus is on what's possible, not what's missing. Intentional faith is the force that activates both energy and mindset. Faith is not passive or weak. It is the decision to believe what is true in the spiritual realm regardless of what the physical world looks like. Faith says, I don't need to chase money because I am connected to divine source. Provision is on the way. Faith allows you to move through your day with calm confidence. You take inspired action, but not from panic. You don't beg for blessings, you expect them. You see delays as part of the process, not a denial. Faith carries a frequency of authority and trust that communicates to the universe. I am ready. I am available. I am in alignment. When you combine energy, mindset, and faith, you operate from a place of inner abundance. That inner wealth becomes the cause, and outer wealth becomes the effect. You no longer need to force things to happen. You don't manipulate people, overwork yourself, or live in survival mode. Instead, you listen to divine guidance, act when prompted, and trust that your needs are being met. Money begins to show up in unusual and unexpected ways. Someone might refer you to a new opportunity. A forgotten investment might suddenly increase. A creative idea might bring in unexpected income. These things don't happen because you chased them. They happen because you aligned with them. Chasing creates friction. Attraction creates flow. When you chase money, you're often acting from insecurity. You believe you're not enough, don't have enough, or won't get enough unless you push harder. But that energy actually repels wealth. Money, like all energy, responds to clarity, purpose, and confidence. It flows where it is welcomed, respected, and aligned. When you stop chasing, you allow room for miracles to unfold. You create space for divine timing, inspired action, and unexpected breakthroughs. Practical steps to shift from chasing to attracting include setting financial intentions without desperation, practicing daily affirmations, and releasing attachment to how the money will come. You set your goal, you visualize it, and then you rest in faith. You stop micromanaging the process. Instead, you focus on raising your energy through gratitude, serving others, staying in joy, and doing what lights you up. These high-frequency activities align you with the flow of abundance. It's also essential to address internal resistance. Many people say they want wealth but feel guilty about receiving. They worry what others will think or feel unworthy of success. These subconscious blocks must be cleared. Journaling, meditation, forgiveness work, and declaring scriptures of abundance can help heal these inner barriers. As you clear the resistance, your attraction power multiplies. Another key element is trusting your intuition. Attraction often works through inner nudges, subtle ideas, gentle promptings, or creative urges. When you are spiritually aligned, you begin to recognize these nudges as divine instruction. You take action not because you're desperate, but because you're led. This kind of action is effective, efficient, and filled with favor. You're no longer forcing outcomes. You're flowing with divine guidance. Over time, this way of being becomes natural. You begin to live with financial peace. You no longer fear downturns because you know provision is always available. You don't compete with others because you trust your own path. You give freely, receive easily, and move through life knowing that the energy you carry is your greatest asset. When you stop chasing and start attracting through energy, mindset, and intentional faith, you move from survival to overflow. You become a channel of prosperity. You no longer strive for money. Money begins to work for you. And this shift is not just about increasing income. It's about becoming someone who lives in peace, purpose, and spiritual alignment with wealth. Belief shapes identity, and identity shapes reality. When you believe that wealth is outside of you, you will always feel like we have to reach for it, earn it, or chase it. But when you shift that belief to understanding that you are the source through which abundance flows, everything changes. This doesn't mean you are the ultimate source apart from God. It means you are a divine vessel, a conduit of infinite supply. You were created in the image of a limitless creator. That means abundance is not something you have to obtain. It's something you must awaken within yourself. When your identity is rooted in this truth, money stops being something you seek and becomes something that seeks you. Identity is not just a mental label. It is a set of beliefs, emotions, and expectations that define how you see yourself. If your identity is aligned with lack, you will unconsciously repel wealth, even if you work hard. But if your identity is rooted in divine abundance, then money becomes a byproduct of your being, not a goal you're constantly striving toward. You begin to operate from a place of sufficiency. You are no longer trying to get rich. You realize you are already rich in spirit, and financial overflow simply follows that inner conviction. Believing you are the source changes the energy behind your actions. You stop looking to external circumstances, jobs, clients, or economy, as your supply. You start seeing yourself as the creative channel through which wealth is birthed. This inner certainty produces confidence, clarity, and peace. You no longer operate in desperation or comparison because you understand your provision flows from within. You become centered, grounded, and powerful in your purpose. When you internalize this belief, your behavior naturally shifts. You start thinking like someone who is already wealthy. You make decisions from a mindset of overflow, not fear. You invest in yourself because you know the return is inevitable. You treat your ideas, time, and energy as valuable because you recognize yourself as a source of wealth. This mindset elevates your standards, your boundaries, and your capacity to receive. Another shift that occurs when you embrace yourself as the source is that you become more creative. Scarcity stifles creativity, but abundance releases it. You begin to receive ideas, insights, and strategies that have the potential to generate wealth. You tap into divine intelligence and create from inspiration, not pressure. These inspired ideas often carry the power to multiply your resources, bless others, and elevate your life. You stop relying solely on linear logic and start trusting divine downloads. The more you believe in your identity as a source, the more you activate this creative flow. This belief also brings emotional freedom. You no longer feel tied to outcomes. You don't panic when one stream dries up because you know the source is not the stream. The source is within. You are the generator. You are the channel. You can create again, launch again, rebuild again. This confidence removes the fear of failure. You begin to live in boldness, not because of ego, but because you're operating from spiritual truth. You are one with the Creator of all wealth. You reflect His nature by producing, giving, and prospering. The principle of, I am the source, does not promote pride. It promotes stewardship. When you understand that wealth flows through you, not to you, you become responsible with what you carry. You no longer hoard, you circulate. You no longer waste, you invest. You no longer fear loss because you trust the flow. Just as a tree doesn't fear running out of oxygen, a person who sees themselves as a source never fears running out of provision. They know the supply is infinite when they stay aligned. Believing you are the source also means recognizing your spiritual authority. You are not a victim of financial systems, past decisions, or generational limitations. You have the power to shift patterns, create opportunities, and break cycles. You stop waiting for rescue and start walking in dominion. You no longer beg for blessings, you release them from within. The power of life and death is in your tongue. And when you declare, "I am a source of wealth," you activate a realm of abundance that cannot be stopped by external resistance. This belief must be reaffirmed daily. Your environment, your upbringing, and the media often promote the idea that wealth is limited, hard to obtain, and only available to a select few. But your spirit knows the truth, that there is no shortage in the divine economy. You are not competing for scraps, you are connected to the source of all. Repeating affirmations such as, "Wealth flows through me. I am an extension of divine provision. And I carry the creative power of abundance," reinforces this truth in your subconscious mind. As you continue to walk in this identity, money begins to flow in ways that feel effortless. It doesn't mean there is no work involved, but the work is aligned, joyful, and purposeful. You attract partnerships, opportunities, and open doors because your energy carries the vibration of abundance. People feel it. Circumstances adjust to match it. Provision starts to show up before you even ask, because your belief has already made room for it. Finally, when you embody the belief that you are the source, you naturally bless others. You realize your wealth is not just for personal gain, it's for impact. You give, share, and elevate those around you because you know your source never runs dry. You operate in generosity because you trust the flow. And the more you give, the more you receive. The more you align with your divine identity, the more money becomes a normal, natural extension of who you are.